beads. I watched them with the figures, and I watched them glide. I watched them use black power. I used it, and then all of a sudden I was in Ghana, and here they say, Serena's mother in the airport, and she's coming, they're coming. And she had this blonde wig on. She looked like she was crazy. You know, I was embarrassed. I said, oh, God. You know, you say, homegirl in town? Homegirl, where homegirl is? Homegirl, yo, homegirl? Oh, no, black man, no. It's sad, but this is what the cards that we have to play. This is what the children have up in front of them. If we really love them, we have to help them make sense of this. They're not going to survive this. We are about to be annihilated, and the first thing you need is menticide, so you don't even see the troops coming. So you turn in your guns for a pair of sneaks, and then you shoot shoelaces at them when they come down the street killing women and children. This is some serious, serious business. And when you get to sex slaves and sex prisoners, you are so captivated by your own sexuality that you're actually insane. And you gotta watch it, because it'll creep into you. It'll creep into your relationship, keeping the petty arguments you having with your man or your woman. And you say, well, why am I even into this? Why am I taking part in this? Why are the children hearing me say this? You know, and when once a person that you're in a relationship makes a 180 degrees turn and stabilize into madness, run for your life, because that shit's I'm sorry to say, I wish I had the other thing. Hey, there's other brothers and sisters around. But if you're wasting your time with a sex prisoner, you're going to get your feelings so hurt. And the stories, I watch these kids go, first of all, the youth of the day have a hard time finding a woman that don't already have a baby. Yeah. Oh, they'll bring that to the house for you. That's rough, man. These crackers took away sex. You feel me?
Think about it.
They made sex nasty. Because they got this thing, that Puritan thing. They first came here and put it on the Indians and the Africans because they made it with sheep, which gave you syphilis. That's where it come from. They didn't catch it off a toilet seat on the Mayflower. Them popping sheep. Now think of a man sitting on a hill saying, that's a fine four-legged sheep. Hey, come here, man. Come here. You know how crazy you are? You're not close to a beast you are yourself to be aroused by one? You ever smell a sheep? Yeah, oh, fine thing. Bye-bye black sheep, bye-bye black sheep. Oh, it's madness. The last boy would say, this is madness, you know? And it is 10 times worse than when they said, this is madness. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing of this makes sense unless you begin to capture your brain, use your consciousness, and say, yeah, wait a minute. Let me slow down here. Blessed are those that struggle. Let me try to do so. Let me try to reach my children. How do I get out of this? The only thing that gets you out of here is your culture. But you have to fight for your culture. And what happened if everywhere Eminem appeared, there were picket lines and people throwing things at, you know what we did? You know what we did? You know what we did? We had a boycott on South Africa. And Millie Jackson broke the boycott. And she pranced in South Africa for white men and let them squeeze her charming and all that. So she came to Philadelphia with B.B. King. And when she showed up, it was about 300 of us out there. And we kept her from getting in the building, right? B.B. King drives up in a chauffeured car. And B.B.'s like one of the nicest guys in the world. What's going on? What did I do? We said, you didn't do nothing, B.B. That broad there went to South Africa. He said, got nothing to do with me. Rolled his window up and went and did his show. They came in the side, and our people ran. We said, don't run yet. They ran to stop Millie Jackson and rushed her in the door. Then she got on the stage and said, they trying to stop me. See. You know how hard it was for me to convince people don't hurt her? Because you ain't going to get away with it. We infiltrated. Everybody knowing we can't lose no good soldier for Millie Jackson because they wanted her life. You see, it's going to come to that. First, you got to be conscious enough to know the people destroying you. You know? Everybody else want to be a star, they damn self. What they do now is star. We'll make you a star. America's Idol. America's Idol. 10,000 people standing outside to be that one American Idol. Yeah. And that, but all they care is fame and fortune and don't have to work and getting paid. The cheap way out. Never mind what you have to sing, what you have to do. Culture cleansing. But you can't build a culture if you're integrated with them. You can't. You need to separate from them. You need to have your own schools. You need to have your own clinics. You need to have your own economy. You have to have your own everything. You know something? If they stop the trains and stuff from coming to bringing food, we can't get no food. That's right. However, in Philadelphia, we're making linkages with the black farmers who have nowhere to take their... all these black people, but they have nowhere to get their food to market. So you bypass the market and deal directly with the black farmers. There's a ways if you put yourself in full effect to survive, and not only survive, to win. My last statement is the new book that I'm working on, because I'm always working on a new book, is Showdown. Pan-Africanism versus global white supremacy. It's going to come to that. And after I write this book, I will say goodbye to you, and you will never see me again, because they're going to be so pissed with my ass. It's time. You cannot mince words. You can't play with our people. You got to be most direct. Showdown. If we established a Pan-African reality across the world, there's no way you can be defeated. No way. If you can fight them from Brazil, you can fight them from Chile, from Cuba, you can fight them from Vietnam, Cambodia, you can fight them from Papua New Guinea, you can fight them from London, you can fight them from France, you can fight them from Philadelphia, you can fight them from California, Harlem, you can fight them all the way over in the Pacific, all the way around the world. The world is too big for them to police. But unity, we want a harvest without planning. We don't want to do no work. We want white people to go away. They ain't going away. Either you die or they die. Showdown. There's no middle ground, and they have the capacity to take you out. And the way our people is running and lining up for flu shots, mind you. Flu shots. Yeah, they told you the ones from Britain, oh, they're no good. We got good ones. But we don't have enough, and God, you may not get one, and you will get the flu. Really? And we act like we don't know what the flu is. My God, I'll die, the flu. Oh, I got to drink orange juice and take some aspirin. Oh, my God. That's how they can wrap you up. And these people are lining up for flu shots. And they sitting there like this. The invasion of the body snatchers. Anybody got any questions? Because I done talked a whole lot.
Could you touch on Iraq a little bit, maybe?
Iraq?
Yeah.
Yeah, Iraq mostly is, if Saddam Hussein, who was a functioning CIA agent, had not been trying to stretch his money by dealing with the EU dollars as opposed to the American dollars, the American government would not have reacted so, because the America is a corporation that is over $1 trillion in debt and about to collapse. And anytime you're about to collapse in capitalism, you start a war. Why? Because you blow things up and then you put people to work building them back together. The only problem with that, the people who were trying to build it back together, they start cutting their damn heads. Now see, I found why, all right? I found why. They do what they doing. They slap your damn head off your neck. You know what I mean? Are you in it to win it? Peckerwood's scared, because they were making like $500 a day. They didn't have to spend no money. Like you go to the Alaskan pipeline, make a fortune. You're going to lose your head. Yeah. That's when you're serious. And they nothing. Malcolm told us, ain't nothing like guerrilla warfare. They take your ass down.
He said they will never win another war on the ground.
They will never win another war without a gun.
And they haven't won anything. They're not winning this one.
It's impossible. Impossible. First of all, you gotta watch Bush. Bush is a cowboy, yo. Bush says, listen to me, y'all. I'll tell you. If you've got weapons of mass destruction, we're gonna all be mad.
Yeah, right.
And all the time he buying time. Because one thing we need to learn about war from white people, you got to get the logistics of war in position. Troops, aircraft carriers, triage, body bags, food, shelter, everything need to be put. He said, we got 10 more days to look for those weapons of mass destruction. He said, just like John Wayne's mother. Okay? So he said, yeah. Then when they said, what? Colin, everything right? Condoleezza? Everything cool? Cool? Oh, you're a fine thing, you. Oh. Now. He said, you locked in position? He leaned over the podium. Y'all remember? Saddam, you got 48 hours to get out of there. Now, nothing but a punk can leave. You can't leave. That's like you come to my house and say, you got 48 hours to get out of there. Now, I want to go because I don't want to take this butt kicking, right? But I can't. I'm a man. I can't leave. Then they start whooping. Fine. Using their bombs, but then there's something that happens. It's called guerrilla warfare. America has never won a guerrilla warfare except for when they were fighting the Pokey British in 1775. They can't win. They didn't win in Korea. They didn't win in Vietnam. They can't fight this kind of stuff. It takes heart. That you heard here today, they say there were troops that refused to fight. They've been refusing to fight. And the body count is much higher. Anybody remember the Vietnam War? Today, two Americans were killed at 80,000 VC kills. You're right, Walter Cronkite. Right? There ain't even 80,000 people in that village. You know what I'm saying? So it's common sense. So what you see, think of a global warfare. Out of chaos comes order. You cannot have order without the chaos first. There's no way, yeah, bro.
You spoke on like Bob Marley earlier. You said you knew him. So what do you feel about the attack that's going on with his kids? How they like infiltrating them and turning them against each other? People don't even realize that. How they like trying to break them up.
Them not Bob, The thing important about Bob comes from concrete jungle, the dungle, halfway tree. You know what I'm saying? Right. These kids were born in Miami with a silver spoon in their mouth. They're quite spoiled. And we can't expect them to be Bob. Bob said cold ground was my bed and rock was my pillow. He wasn't lying. He was singing his song of homelessness and hunger. So they're not made of the same things. They don't even understand the complexity of the struggle. Yeah.
So what about the last child, David? He gave him a bad write-up recently. Because his music is slowly starting to change, and he's trying to reach out and build things. They got build youth studios in Kingston. That's his idea. Try to do what his father did.
Yeah, him and Stephen, yeah.
Write-ups in Caribbean Life magazine.
Well, who owns the magazine? Whenever you read stuff, who owns the mag? Well, you see, Stephen is more grassroots than Ziggy. Ziggy got an album with number white boys singing with him, and all of that. Yeah, them not Bob. Bob's special. You could sing like him and try to sound like him and move like him and all of that. But Bob had a thing that was transmitted in his lyrics and in his music that evoked the ancestors, that jarred your genetic memory. That's when you're talking about. These people are trying to follow him and them succeed, but they don't know nothing about capitalism and the war. They ain't never shot at them. They live in a good lifestyle, and most of them stay ganja'd up. So, and what tickled me was poor little Lauryn Hill. When they told me she was marrying a Marley, I said,
she didn't marry him. She just had a baby.
She didn't marry him?
She wasn't going to she said no. She wasn't going to
Well, she better, because he wasn't going to be there.
I do say the same thing by myself.
See, but they're setting a trend to the sistren, and then every sistren has a package, and every brother can't necessarily handle that. You see what I'm saying? When the superstars, it's common amongst that, and these are good young sisters who went through something. And they ain't the first, But the whole thing that happens is makes it difficult as they face into this. You've got to be pretty secure to raise a child and say, this is my child. Because it is, biologically or non-biologically, all these children are. But if you're not in the ideological position to understand what your job is as a father, you don't have Dr. Mutulu Shakur said, I'm not Tupac's father, because I didn't thus and so, and I didn't thus and so, but he's politically conscious. So the children are confused, and it's beginning to get loose, real loose, you know? And the little girls suffer because then the singing, the popular singing philosophy in hip-hop is hit them skins and go. That's it. And we got to be honest about that, you know? And that ain't the first time, because our people sung Walking the Dog. Right. What was that? You know what I mean? We done our thing now. Oh, wherever he laid his hat was his home. But when he died, all he left was alone. He was. But go ahead, what would you say?
I want to change the flavor, because every time I go to meetings with us, you know, we go all around the issues and stuff, and we talk about ourselves a lot, what we don't do. So I'm not mad at Caucasians for doing us. I'm mad at us, because we are the only humans here. I don't consider them human. They can't produce, they can't metabolize, they can't come out in the sun. So I don't look at them as our species. I consider you like a warrior. I don't go listen to too many people speak, because we've been speaking for 500 years. The same message. We know the message. Marcus Garvey gave the message. It's the same message. It could be looked at like I'm a pessimist, but I don't see us doing something as simple as lighting a match and burning this shit down. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take nuclear weapons to create revolution. And I don't know where the warriors are. 90%, I won't say 90, maybe 70% of our black men being faggots. The other ones being punks, and the other ones fronting. Okay. We don't have to be warriors. So when you say we need to teach the youth, I agree with that, definitely, because they go on after we die. But I don't think there's any other message except we are at war. The biggest trick is convincing you you're not at war. And if we don't understand that revolution is not rhetoric, it is doing something. Do you see us doing something?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see us doing
Oh, yeah. This youth is spectacular. I'll tell you, because I know that we have an underground. Always did, always will, and is ready. We have an underground. I had a brother take me out to the freeway in California and say, Baba Dell, you see where the freeway is closed up? I said, yeah. They said, well, you know, under there they have personnel carriers and heavy hardware. And I said, and they said it's our job to make sure it never gets to South Central, it never gets to there. There's South Side. See, and first of all, before I finish, I chastise them for telling me. I say, am I military? Because I know if they start torturing me, they'll find the freeway and, ow, man, shit. And they all there, you know, because I'm not a military man. My job is information and propaganda, so you keep that in your cells. But there are cells in the United States that America is scared to death of. There are, some of those cells was active in guarding Tupac and had to be arrested for them not to pursue the killers. And they are people who were also my bodyguards in New Orleans. There is an underground network. It just like, and it operates on individual cells. And I'm glad it's not hitting yet, because revolution cannot be pulled off until the people above ground understand what's happening underground. And like in the village, they say, here's 2 bags of rice for the village and 1 for the brothers in the bush. And until we get that mentality to support that, back in the 60s and 70s, we used to be able to move people right on out of the country, all over around the world. We've lost those skills. We're going to re-up them. We got young people who are waiting, and I don't want them to be reactionary and go run out prematurely like we did in terms of the glorification that we did in California, where we used guns to help them close the loophole in the law and use that as a propaganda advantage but only people came in contact with Panthers. And the 60s was more than the Panthers in them. Every local group had its own 10 or 12 organizations, and these are beginning to pop up in the terms of study groups that are studying other things, including weaponry, including the art of war, including the anarchist cookbook, which is how to do that. And they're getting very encouraged by what they see as the Iraqis are driving the Americans buck crazy. Now, that's one thing. Our job is above ground to make people understand what's going to go down, whether they like it or not. You don't want to get their pants come down. Revolution. Revolution starts with non-violent petitioning for the oppressor to lighten up. He usually put dogs on you, oppress you, lock you up, assassinate you. The next thing, it leads into general strikes, and strikes that go down, and which was simulated by the $1 Million March. But of course it was, we call it the $1 Million March, but it was never connected to nothing. So it's just, then the other one is beginning to, because after you petition in a civil rights fashion, and the Prince of Peace get his throat blown off, the next thing you have is armed struggle. Now, we're in a specific predicament where we are not the majority here. In almost every revolutionary country, remember, the invader is in the imperialist is in the minority. So we have to understand we have a particular science, but we have a lot of young people, and most of the time I try to cool them out and tell them to keep training and keep doing what they do. Stay on the down low. Don't wear uniforms. Have them think you the average Joe, And when you talk to a white boy, don't ignore him, but always only talk about the weather and sports. And then just go on, because you're not then called a hostile on your job, because one part of King Alfred or Rex 84 is to pick up all the people that are hostile, who are known on their job, that because they talking about black history, some Peckerwood or something. Yeah. So, yeah. It's a protracted struggle. Struggle has never stopped. There's times when we're in the high levels of struggle, and there are times, I'm writing a book in Showdown, I'm going to demonstrate what was done by the Black Liberation Army and how they put New York in a fit. Yeah, but at the same time, they have the logistics of war. In Rosewood, we would have beat them, we ran out of ammo. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, we'd have beat them. We ran out of ammo. We never ran out of guts. So they have in Rosewood, you see the movie? They have a very important scene in there where he has to go get ammo from the man, and the man won't give him no ammo, and he makes his cousin get out of there and don't let the man fill it up no more. He should have been had out of there. That's a contradiction in the film. You know who that is? That girl playing that, her name is Okosawa Bosia. Her father used to be the dictator of the African Republic. She was in Color Purple, too.
Yeah, right.
She is a dictator's daughter. Yeah. Rosewood is a very important film to analyze what they do. And also, there's something happened in that film that showed you the protractive nature of it. John Wayne and them would have ended the film with riding away in the train, kissing their honey and going to freedom. My man say, hey, come on, man, we got to go back. And this shit ain't over. You know what I mean? And that was highly progressive. So there are things you can't see that you ain't supposed to see. And if you see them, those people are in jeopardy. But they're there. And they're trained. And most of the struggle is going to come out of the dirty. It's not going to come out of the north this time. It's going to come out.
Don't need too much ammo. No. But also they need a place to train, and that's why they train more in the dirty south than they do in the city. You feel me? And then they're dispatched all over the world, So it's very important to understand you can't lose faith in one. Two, revolution is never an activity conducted by the masses of the people. Here's what happens. The vanguard, which is us conscious people who on Friday, Saturday night meet with each other to compare notes and learn something, we are the vanguard. The people that we talk to hear us. They know we're correct, but they don't think we can win. We don't convert revolutionaries. This is very important. We don't convert revolutionaries. the oppression of the oppressor will bring them to you. They know what you say, how you say it, when they go in. And why he's so stupid? In Iraq, the more every child you kill, you pick up families full of revolutionaries. Everything you blow up, every mosque you destroy, everything makes you enemy of the people. So it escalates. It don't dissipate. People don't never humble in there because they ain't got nowhere to go. They in their country. You see? So it's very important to understand that many people are going to be coming to us. I would say now, and I've been in this struggle since 1965. Don't do no counting. I would say now there are more quote-unquote economic middle-class people involved than ever before. And they come from corporate America. They've been kicked out of corporate America, or they reject corporate America, and they're beginning to see a world that they have to find a place in for themselves and their children. It's a scientific process that's taking place. It's not a spiritual process. Everybody try to reduce it to it's a scientific process that if you put enough steam under this pot, I don't care if you was a welder and you welded that lid on, when that certain temperature hit you, it's going to transform from water to steam and blow that lid off. And that's a scientific process.
We have revolutions that mention so many thousands of us, but somebody not getting a seat on the bus makes things flow.
Yeah, how they tell it.
The mama's being home.
Yeah, you know. How they spin it. They, Rosa Parks did this and that and that. What they were scared of, what really moved things, was Robert Williams in the South. The Negroes with guns. No, there has never been a concession given to the civil rightsers. It's always been, we'll give it to the civil rights because we don't want to seem like we're giving in. But when Lyndon Johnson was playing in the war in Vietnam, there's a famous picture with all of Washington burning. When we burnt over 200 cities, you see what I'm saying? But no, that was reaction. Revolution is when you do it consciously and say, I'll burn this, I'll burn that, I'll run them over here, I'll run them over here, and then I'm going to hit them over here. And revolution will be when one day the President of the United States leans over the podium and booyaka! And you say, whoa, we grew up. Why should we have the only martyrs in this shit? Why should we have the only dead body? I don't agree with that.
Right.
But you have to get to the point where you overstand that. Because if you don't, people will be pointing, that was Dale, that was Bill, Jack Selden was there. You at a point where people will dime you out of fear.
Right.
They fear themselves. They fear themselves coming to power. But as the master, and I'm telling you, there ain't nothing worse than you can talk about beating people in the head and all that, but the economic oppression that's going to come up is going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That economic pool of hunger with no welfare state in place. See, the welfare state was supposed to give you enough to keep you satisfied so you bum rush Washington. And that's why when you got to the $1 Million March, you've seen playing around. You start seeing people marching, talking about we don't want to disrupt nothing, and we're not really mad at the white man. We're going to atone. Well, I ain't did a damn thing. I ain't atoning for nothing. I want some head. I got too many dead people to be talking about. I ain't killed nobody, and that bothers me. But I will get my chance too. And we walk and we come strong, and we come here and we there because we love it. Because if we didn't love it, we wouldn't be there. Right. We'd be in Acapulco. You see what I'm saying?